Hey everyone, it's Danielle. I'm taking over the channel. Shh, don't tell Neelay. But I'm taking over the channel like it's now my channel. Cheeky, cheeky. All right, enough silliness. It's me. I am here, and I'm going to be showing you how to do a beautiful crochet collar. So check this out. Isn't it cool? And I've held this up a few times during some of my lives, and I know everyone is really excited about it. And so we've been working on it for a long time. We've finally got the blog like all ready to go, and there'll be a PDF you can download that'll show you some of the more details of the instructions. But I wanted to show you how to do this because it's so fun. It's so versatile. Let me get you an up close view here on the camera. You can use really like any yarn you want. And you can use leather knitted chain, which is what I was going to focus on in this tutorial, but also pipe chain, which is actually what I used on the sample I was just holding up. Any of those are going to work. And you can just go to town, any kind of yarn you want. So actually, in that case, let me bring up just really quick what you will need. So, scissors to cut your yarn, a yarn needle for weaving in. You'll need a crochet hook. And that crochet hook, the size of that will vary based on the size of your yarn. And I'll show you on my yarn how you figure that out. And then you're going to need flush cutters to cut your leather knitted chain and or pipe chain. You will also need some chainless pliers to put your findings on. And I'm going to be using in the case of my findings, I'm going to be using these gorgeous single-strand end caps to finish and a lobster claw with SilverSilk jump rings. You'll just need to have whatever kind of color you'd like. So I've got silver. I've done a bunch of these in different colors. So it's really just comes down to what color you're using and what finding finish you'd like. So, and then as far as the yarn, I'm working with a DK, a sport weight yarn. And so for that, it gets you kind of like a gauge of about, if you cast on 29 stitches, which is what I'm going to show you here, you're going to get about a 5-inch center. The measure of this is about 5 inches or so. So each of my shells is centered at 5 inches like that. But you can use different weights of yarn, and this pattern is going to work. You'll just want to test out your gauge and see like centering it. Another way you can work it is you can get your leather chain going or your pipe chain, and you can kind of get an idea of your necklace length at first, and then just decide where you'd like your shells to start and end. And we'll get into the details of the instructions here in just a sec, but you can always just kind of play it by ear and see how far 5 stitches gets you, which is your base for each of your shells. So that's all the materials, your SilverSilk, your yarn, your findings, and your tools. And let me just show you the yarn really quick that I'm going to be using. So again, super flexible, any kind of yarn that you would like. I'm working with a sport weight, and it's got a lot of different, colors going on. Part of the fun is matching your color with your chain. So cool. And anything you want, like any kind of colors, whatever you want to use is great. Usually, and let me bring up my other screen really quick. So, and in fact, we'll make that the main screen so you can really see what I'm going to show. Usually your yarn will tell you things like this. It will say what size hook you want to use. So in my case, I'm using, it says to use this 6mm, which it kind of seems big to me for the size of yarn that I'm using, but I'm going for it. And that's, this is a J hook, a J10. And that's what that means. Usually like in a set of crochet, devices, hooks, it'll have all of that written on there for you. And again, sometimes it'll be a letter and sometimes it'll be a number. But they give you all that info usually on your yarn skein. So get that one ready. And also on the samples that are in the beautiful photo at the beginning, that yarn is from Abby Berta's shop at the Bead place. I did not know she sold yarn, but she does. So if you're looking for a really hot place to buy some yarn, check out the Bead place. And we'll link that in the description. It's also linked in the blog. The blog and the download instructions are going to be linked in the description as well. But I'm going to go ahead and get started, show you how to get started. So let's bring up the first set of instructions. So you're going to be working from your spool, so you don't need to cut anything right now. You are going to need to put a slip knot onto your hook. And so I'm just going to set my leather aside for 1 second. And here's the end of my yarn. I like to create my slip knots by first holding the yarn across my hand, and then I'll wrap around and cross that yarn like this, see? And then just pinch that spot where you crossed it. And continue to bring that yarn over your fingers. You can use your pinky to hold it. And then you just take your hook and go under and pull the back strand forward like that. It'll make a little loop like that. So again, that's strand across your hand, wrap around and cross, and then just bring that over, and then you want to pull this through. All right. And then just tighten it by pulling on the longer end, and it'll just bring that nice and tightly around your hook. All right. And so here's my leather knitted chain. And I know roughly from my other gauges that I've done, you'll have to do your own gauge swatch unless you just want to kind of eyeball it and then adjust as you go. But I know that my about 5-inch center point is going to start right about here. So it's not, not set in stone. It doesn't have to be exact, but if you want to go ahead and just kind of eyeball a spot and you can slide it around later, that works too. But what I'm doing here is I'm holding the leather knitted chain between these fingers and just holding the hook in front of it. And I've got my yarn spool kind of off to the left here. So I can get my leather knitted chain is now over on that side, and it's still passing on the front here. So far, got the yarn kind of passing underneath the chain. And just keeping that tail. I'm going to tuck the tail over here. So holding it like this, you want to bring this yarn behind the leather chain and then go around the hook part of your hook and pull that through. And so that's put your first stitch cast onto the SilverSilk. From here on, we're going to be repeating the following. And let me just see if the instructions show our next steps here. Yeah. And so this is casting on. And that is one little loop there. What we're going to do now is bring your hook under the SilverSilk, okay? And then grab that yarn. You see how I'm grabbing it with the hook here? And pulling that loop up. Now I've got 2 loops on my hook. Take the yarn, wrap it in front of the hook, and bring it through both of those loops. And so now you'll notice you've got a little V right there. Do you see the V? That's our first single crochet onto the chain there. All right, and so we're going to make 29 more single crochets. So let's bring the hook behind it and then grab the yarn, bring it up, bring the yarn in front of the hook, and pull through both loops on your hook. And now you see we've got 2 V's. So loop, put your hook kind of under to grab, yarn over, and pull through 2. So we're getting these beautiful V's on there. So for each of your shells, we're going to be doing a shell next. You're going to want to cast on 5 in total for your first one. So the way to count them, because you might lose count as you're going, I often do, is to look at 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then let's bring this under, grab the yarn, bring it in front, yarn over, and pull through. There's 5. And the way a shell works is you have the 5 stitches anchor. And so you're going to have at least 5 so that you can skip a stitch, work those double crochets into a center, and then be able to skip another stitch and anchor it at the next point. And so that's why you need that total. But from here on out, you're sharing the one from before it. So you're going to be adding them in increments of 4 as we go, if that makes any sense. So you can continue your shell pattern as you go. And at this point, if you feel like you want to adjust it, because I think I did slide down a bit on my chain, it's a good time to adjust it now. You see how I can kind of slide it a little bit? You will be able to do that later, but the more you're wielding, the more tricky it gets. So, and your gauge might be different than mine, so you definitely want to be able to just take a quick look at that now and make a decision on how many shells you want and where to start on your chain. So here's my end, what I'm doing there. So it looks like we're going to continue to carry on casting for a few more. So I'm going to do that really quickly and be right back. All right, so there's my 29th one. And I'm going to just kind of pinch these ends here. And I want to show you how you can adjust them now if you'd like to. So I've almost got that centered. You can see how I kind of want, if I'm holding these 2 ends, I kind of want these to just almost be in line. It is possible, again, to slide them just a little bit. See, you can move them around and get them into the spot where you'd like them to be. Try not to lose your loop over here. If you want to put a little zip blocker on there, you can. But that's about right there. It's super flexible. It does move around for you. So, all right. So I have learned from experience to go down a hook size. This is just a me thing. But since I was casting on with the one it said to on the instructions, but I think I want to go down to a 7 here for me. So I went down a millimeter in my hook size for my shells. And so let's switch to the next part of our instructions. We've got number 4 here. So this is where I left off with my single crochets. And what we're going to do here is we're going to turn to work back in the other direction. So we're headed that way now. Still have my yarn here. And what you're going to want to do, make a double crochet in the 3rd stitch from your hook. So that counts as a stitch, the one we're exiting from. 1, 2, and 3. So there's your 3rd one. To make a double crochet, you're just going to wrap your yarn around 1 time. And I'm always kind of holding it with these other fingers. And again, you're going to go through that 3rd one. Okay. And then bring that yarn over the hook and pull up a loop. So you got that. Yarn over and go through 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through 2 loops on your hook. So there's your first double crochet. Now we're going to make 4 more double crochets in that same stitch. And so that's why I went down a hook size, as it helps me. That's just, again, just a me thing, but I think it's kind of a good tip. So you want to go through that same stitch, having yarned over 1 time. Let me show that one more time because I didn't really narrate very well. So we just finished that double crochet. Just going to yarn over and now go through that same stitch right there. Bring that yarn in front of the hook so you can pull up a loop, right? Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. And we're going to repeat that 3 more times. So go around, same stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. 2 to go, yarn over, same spot, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, and go through 2. One more to go. Here we go. Yarn over, through the stitch, pull up a loop. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, and go through 2. So now you've got this open shell here. Next thing you're going to want to do is we're going to link the shell down now by doing a slip stitch in the stitch after the next one. So it's always going to be skip a stitch, go to the next one from here out. So you see we're going to skip the next V in the line and then go through the one right after that. So just like that. And I like to just give this a little tighten here. This is our chance to tighten it because this is what's going to make the shell pop. And then just bring that yarn in front of the hook here. Pull that through. You'll have 2 loops on the hook. And usually in one swift motion, you can do it. Get through the next one by just pulling that same loop through the other one that's on your hook. And there's your little shell. So we're going to repeat this for the rest of the scallops. I'm going to do another scallop with you together. So let's go ahead and begin to double crochet. And again, we're going to want to skip the next stitch and we'll do our double crochets into the one after that. So yarn over and then skip a stitch and go to the next one. Okay. Yarn in front of the hook, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, 4 more times. Over, same stitch, pull up a loop, and finish that double crochet just like that. Here's number 3. Pull up a loop. Here's number 4. Okay, here's number 5. We worked all 5 of those into that same spot. Okay, so now you have those 5. There's our open shell. Take a look, skip a stitch, and go into the next one. Bring that yarn in front of your hook. Pull up a loop, and then head right up through the next one. There's 2 pretty scallops. Let's do one more together just to make sure everyone's got it. From here, you're going to yarn over, and you're going to skip the next stitch. Go through the one after that. This is the one we're going to put 5 double crochets into. You just want to go through 1 double crochet. Here's number 2. Here's number 3. Okay. Here's number 4. And number 5. There you go. You want to skip the next stitch in the chain and go through the one right after that. Again, this is your chance to tighten if you need to. Bring that in front, pull up a loop, bring that loop through the other one. All right, so there's 3. I'm going to finish. Let's see. I think I've got 4 more to go. Look how pretty it's coming along. So I'm almost done. I've got 1 more shell to go. And I thought we would just do the last one together. So I'm going to yarn over, skip the next stitch, and go under the V of the one right after that. So there's 1. And here's 2. And here's 3. And I noticed something as I was working is I brought this gorgeous yarn that has all these different colors, and I realized that the color changes are longer than I was expecting. So I never actually got the turquoise in this yarn to appear. So that's just one thing to think about if you're working with a multicolor. But anyway, there's my 5th one. And then if you just take a look on your chain where you cast on here, you'll skip the next one and go through the last one. Okay, same thing. We're going to just bring this up and bring this up. All right. So that's our beautiful scallop design coming right along. Let's look at our next step. And so for this one, we're going to cut the yarn free from the spool and pull this so that it knots. And let me show you what I mean by that. So get your scissors or a flush cutter and trim, leaving a long tail. So leave enough to comfortably weave in, so at least 7 inches, maybe more if you want to. And so now my yarn ball is free. Still have my hook in there. Go ahead and just take this and pull. So it's going to pull the loop free, right? And what's going to happen is that'll tighten down just like that. And at this step, if you want to, you can start weaving in directly, or you can tie a knot here with your tail if you want to, if you feel like it would make it more secure. I haven't been doing that, but I do think it's okay to do that if you would like to. And so let's get a weaving in needle. I'm going to grab this one right here. In my kit came with one. I have one of these little like crochet kits, and my kit has 3 different sizes. I think this one is probably going to work. And so let's start with my longer one first. And if you're trying to get your yarn to feed through one of these needles, if you fold it like that, sometimes it's easier to get it fed through. See, you can kind of push it like that, and then it's easier to pull it through your needle. All right, and so to weave in, I'm going to just bring this one down, and I'm going to just go through in between the little V-stitch that I'm above. And you can even go around if you want, around the chain. And this, I'm going to trim this tinsel. It's part of the tail that started, but not everybody's yarn will have tinsel. If it does, and yours is being unwieldy, you can just trim it. So here I'm going to go around my silk, and then I'm going to head up this way. Weaving in is kind of, it's just wherever you feel like going. Let's see here. I'm going to go through there. I like to hide my yarn when I weave in, but you don't have to do that. But I kind of make it look like it's part of the stitches. And then I go through the center there, bring it around. Puts me over here. And I'm just going to head through all these. Going through the center of one of your shells is a great way to weave in. So just like that, see? And as we're changing direction, giving it lots of places to hide. I'm going to get through a little spot over here, and then I'm going to trim it. So I went through 2 shells-ish. And if you have a side you feel like is the front, like I always have a side of my crochet that I feel like is the front, then you can trim toward the back. Like I definitely feel like that's the back of mine. And so if you pull just a little tiny bit when you're trimming it, your thread should pop right back into there. And now I just have to weave in this other one. And that won't take very long at all. I'm just going to do the same thing, just kind of fold it. And then just kind of use your fingernail to press it into the needle. And then you can pull it like that, see? Even a nice like snarly end like that. Still mix it through your needle. One more little tighten here. And so I'm going to go around the chain like that and then head into the work. On this one, I think I'm just going to run this one right along the bottom until I get to like right there. This one's not as long, so I don't have as many places I can go with it, but I'm going to just head it through over here and give that one a trim. All right. See how easy this is? Oh my goodness. Oh, and it's cute too. Look at that. This ended up being bulkier. I mean, I think it was the same size yarn that I had before, but this is why I would kind of recommend you doing a gauge test. I know I hate doing gauge tests, so I'm sitting here saying stuff I don't actually do on my own, but look at the difference. And these were supposedly the same weights of yarn, so I think there's a myth happening there. But anyway, so those were a little more dainty and also very beautiful. But this one is like, you know, very blossomy. But yeah, same number of shells though. Kind of interesting. So definitely play with that. Let's put some findings on really quick. What do y'all think about copper? I had copper in mind from the get-go. When I saw that pink, especially becoming the dominant color from my yarn bulb. So let's get those findings on there. And let me just bring our instructions up to speed with where we are. So here we go. I've got beautiful, beautiful single strand end caps. And let me show you the tool that I was mentioning earlier. Hopefully I've got it with me. So this is the tool I was mentioning. Neela uses Tool Magic coated pliers. I believe he uses some square nose. So one's kind of like these, but with Tool Magic on them, and that is actually the gold standard way to go. I just had these handy, and I end up kind of using these. So everyone's got their method. But let's go ahead and put our findings on. Let's see how pretty. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to make sure I don't have any little ends there. Perfect. Okay. So I've got that one secured. There's that end. Perfect. Okay. And I'd like the logo to be face side up. So I'm going to just kind of go like this. Make sure I don't have any stray little wires there. That look good? Yeah. Okay. Beautiful. All right. Let's bring on these and lobster claw. I'm finishing it because I want to try it on, see how it looks. I think this is going to be my favorite one so far. And let's see, I'm right-handed, and I believe this is yeah, I want this to be the front. So let's put the lobster claw on this side. Let's have it be like that. Thinking about it. There we go. I love these findings. They just shine. There we go. And here's our jump ring on this side. All right. Look at that. Look how pretty. Oh my goodness, that is gorgeous. Okay. I'm going to take this overlay off, and I'm going to bring myself up here. And let's see. Let's take this one down. Okay. Sorry about the light there. So it was in the way, but it makes it nice for you to see the demo. So let's see. Woohoo. That one came out really good. They're always different. Like every time I make one, they always look different. So it's new and unique and fun every single version. And hopefully I can get this clicked in one try. There we go. So kind of wish I didn't do the V-neck today. But check it out. Isn't that cute? Hang on. Let's Get the V-neck to like work with it though. I'm going to the wrong side. Yeah. I can't do my left or my right on videos. But check it out. Isn't this cool looking? So, with the right shirt, I'm tempted to go change so I can try it. But this is so cool. I'm just like excited about it. This is the crochet collar, and you can do all kinds of colors. You can layer them up. Would layering them be cool? I think layering them would be really cool. But I hope you've loved this tutorial and that you will try all kinds of beautiful yarn. I want to bring up one more time the original image so you guys can see it. So this yarn here that I'm using in that version was made with yarn called Love is Love from the Bead Place. And that's Abby Berta's shop. And she had a bunch of colors. I can't remember. I think that one was like a nebula color. Anyway, it ended up being the perfect fall combo. But those two necklaces were made with the same skein. It's another one of those rainbow skeins that you get a different color every time. And so I was adjusting it and pulling it through so you would have different colors in each of those. But yeah, so I hope you've loved this tutorial. And if you make a beautiful crochet collar like this one, please put it in the Silkies group. And I would love to see what you create. And so until next time, have a really great rest of your day and happy crocheting.